It's a great privilege and an honor for all of us that Françoise Gillot has accepted to speak to us this afternoon. Madame Gillot was born in Paris, became a painter at a very young age, and her work in different media is included in the permanent collections of the Musée Picasso in Antibes, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Tel Aviv Museum, the Women's Museum in Washington, D.C., and I might add, at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She received a BA in philosophy from the Sorbonne and a degree in English literature from Cambridge. During the 40s in Paris, she joined the remarkable circle of artists and intellectuals that included Picasso, Braque, Miro, Gertrude Stein, Simone de Beauvoir. And since 1951, she, Madame Gillot, has had one man or one woman shows in every major gallery in the world. She has authored or co-authored and illustrated a number of books, some of them quite famous, including Life with Picasso, which she wrote with Carlton Lake and was published in 1964, Sur la Pierre in 1972, Interface, The Painter and the Mask, 1983, The Fugitive Eye, 1983, and Matisse and Picasso, A Friendship in Art, in 1990. That year, she received the distinction of she was made Chevalier of the Légion d'Honneur, which is France's highest honor, for her work as a painter, a writer, and a feminist. But I might also add that I think one of her greatest contributions is to be the mother of Paloma and Claude Picasso, who have enriched our lives so well. So thank you very much, Madame Gillot, who's going to speak to us today on an encounter with Picasso. And I should add that a new series of monotypes by Madame Gillot are on view at BLT Gallery down on the Bowery. So please welcome Madame Françoise Gillot.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be with all of you today. Always a great pleasure to be at the Metropolitan Museum. And a great pleasure to speak about Picasso one more time. So I'm going to show a few slides. And I will talk either about the slides themselves or about things that are related to Picasso's diverse moods and accomplishments. In this painting of 1901, we see a very dark blue period portraiture of Picasso by himself. And it reflects very much a part of his temperament which was always there, which is an enormous amount of anxiety, a kind of anxiety that is about life itself. Is it worth being there or not, you know? And also an anxiety which is the anxiety of being there and being lost in a way. That might seem strange, but that's the way he was. As a child, for example, when he went to school, he had always to take with him either some of his father's brushes, because his father was a painter already, and also a dove inside his vest, because he thought perhaps otherwise his father would not come to fetch him in the evening. So what is very interesting is the fluctuation between, you know, that very Spanish type of feeling that todo es nada, that everything is nothing and that you cannot be sure of absolutely anything, that you are not even sure of the necessity of being there. And then after that, in a day, in the same day, he would feel, first of all, when he woke up, it was really the anxiety of being there. And the non-necessity of being there. And then, usually, he would see, at the end of the morning, he would not work in the morning, he would see some of his friends, and the dialogue and the discussions, and the need for him to win any type of discussion would bring him back some amount of optimism, and he called that to charge the batteries again. Charging the batteries was meaning to have dialogues, but dialogues where he would exercise some strength of his own to be the winner. So it was from the morning when nothing was worthwhile and he did not even exist himself, to around noon, 1 p.m., when he had to be the king again. And that was what that experience of strength, of his inner strength, what allowed him to paint in the afternoon and the evening. Now, this is 1905. It's the little Harlequin and a fool, you know, of the Commedia dell'arte. The Harlequin, of course, is a very antique type of example, you know, not only the Commedia dell'arte. In fact, it comes from antique Greece, the feast of Dionysos, where some people were dressed with the skin of a panther, and it was called the 1,000 Eyes. And that panther costume was replaced later on by those diamond shapes, multicolored costumes, which were typical of the Harlequin, which is a trickster in the Commedia dell'arte. And here, of course, the other character, which in a sense replicates almost the posture of the Harlequin, but he holds a sword. And in a way is dressed in red, which for Picasso is the color of death, and he's the death giver with a sword. We are going to see those archetypes like the Harlequin and the other clowns of the Commedia dell'arte, and also the presence of that sword which can cut any destiny. Here we have a woman with a fan. It's very interesting because with the movements of her hands, which is contrasting one another, it appears that she's forbidding the space of the painting to be owned by the viewer, so to speak. So it's as if she's forbidding, no, you don't enter there. But at that time, of course, it is still a symbol. And strangely enough, Picasso was always friends, not so much with other painters, but with writers, mostly with poets. And at that time, his two friends were Max Jacob and Apollinaire. And Apollinaire was going through a phase that was also typically symbolist. And Max Jacob, who might have been a bit less talented than the other two, but who had maybe a greater sense of destiny or the future, said, we have to get out of symbolism. Symbolism will bring nothing more now. Here, this is Boy Leading a Horse, which is one detail of a painting that was never accomplished, where here we have